Hey guys, and welcome back. Yes, I did promise I'm going to be bringing you those Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. rewatch videos on a weekly basis. I've got one in the making, but at the same time, the episode titles for Season 7 of the series did leak, and I want to talk about those. But yeah though, you're getting those rewatch videos on a regular basis. You're going to get one weekly, maybe 2 times a week, but for the time being, let's talk about those episode titles. Okay, so first and foremost, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about before I start mentioning them and start speculating around them as well, which are one, the fact that these leaks could be pretty legit because we got the leak for the Season 6 episodes and that was prior to the season airing. All of them were pretty accurate. That's why instead of waiting on a few episodes of the next season to air like I did with Season 6, I'm gonna talk about them up front. I mean, for Season 6 we got 13 episode titles, all of them were legit except for one, because on the leak we had one episode titled Collision Course and the one that followed was The Baker, but instead when the season aired we got Collision Course Part 1 and Collision Course Part 2. The episode Collision Course Part 2 is when the Baker died, the Baker by the way being Jacko, so it kinda hints at the idea that the episode title was changed. But that also brings us to number 2. Yes, I just mentioned the leaks for Season 6 were kinda legit, so it is possible that these are legit as well. But then there's the fact that some of these titles are pretty lengthy. So I'd go with, yeah, they're most probably pretty legit there, but there is the possibility that some of them are not exactly what they are. But okay, let's hit these titles. They're not in a specific order, as in the order of the episodes. One of them is titled Adapt or Die. I think this one is going to be either the premiere or the second episode. Out of these 13 episodes, the only one that we know the exact order of is the finale of the season, which is what we're fighting for. There's one episode titled Brand New Day, which could be a play on the last day, you know, the title of the 8th episode of the 5th season. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is known to have done that repeatedly over the years. You've got the end of the beginning, that was on Season 1, you've got the beginning of the end, and that was also on Season 1, then you've got the end on Season 5. That was supposedly going to be the series finale. And you could also add World's End to this list, but I'm going to stick with these 3. There's also A Life Spent, A Life Earned, New Life, Past Life, and Afterlife. A lot of episodes that kind of play on similar names, that kind of give different meanings. So yeah, that's a possibility here as well. But speaking though of episodes, the title of which does include the word end does address something about an ending. We've got The End Is at Hand, and that's gonna be one of the final 3 episodes of the season, probably the second to last episode. Brand New Day as well is gonna be one of the final 3 episodes of the season, so I'm assuming in order they're gonna be Brand New Day, The End Is at Hand, What We're Fighting For. So there's gonna be like a 3 episode arc that kinda ends the series. And let me remind you, we were promised a bittersweet ending, just like the one that we got on Season 5, when they assumed the Season 5 finale was going to be the finale for the series. So Brand New Day is going to be about a little bit of hope that they're going to get close to the end of the series. The End Is at Hand is going to be that hope crusher, you know, the thing that gets them down. And they're going to have to work through it, try to sort it out in order to get to the finale. You know, what we're fighting for. There's going to be a loss there, but they're going to be reminded, you know, this is what we do. This is what we fight for, this is what we've got to do, and it is possible they're going to have to do something drastic, like for example, turning off the Coulson LMD, and they're going to have to get this reminder, like we've got to turn him, because the objective was not really bringing back Coulson, but rather bringing about this treasure of information that he's got about S.H.I.E.L.D., the history of S.H.I.E.L.D., and what the COMMIES are going to go after. But yeah though, there's not much speculation you can do about the finale. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're going to be doing when we get the first few episodes of the season. So circling back to the titles of the first 10 episodes, A Trout in the Milk, you cannot really get something out of that one, but you could still speculate based on the phrase, because it is a common phrase. I mean, a trout in the milk is a phrase based on the speculation that the dairy farmer did possibly water down his product, you know, try to make a lot more profit out of it, increase the amount of milk by adding water to it. Now this over here could be about some circumstantial evidence that they use in order to figure out what the COMMIES are doing. That's a possibility. But the other possibility, that's all about the trout itself. So the trout over here could be the success of the COMMIES on their first mission in the past, maybe not full success to kind of ruin the future, like completely ruin it, but it is possible that whatever they did, it kind of opens the door, it kind of starts the whole thing. Like, the milk is not really ruined completely, but its properties are kinda changing a little bit at a time. Whatever happens on that episode is gonna be the first change. Now, if you want to combine both meanings, the regular way the statement is used, as in referring to some circumstantial evidence and an actual trout in the milk, the trout, in my opinion, could be a change to the timeline, and the team would not really know about it. Like, they could have some circumstantial evidence to the effect that something changed in the timeline, but they wouldn't have something solid, something concrete, something that would definitively tell them, okay, the timeline did change here or there. They would know, but they wouldn't really know. That brings us to the second title we've got here, and that's gonna be Adapt or Die, and that's possibly either the premiere, in my opinion, or the second episode. They're in a different time, they don't know what to do, and if they know what to do, it's gonna be hard to do it. I mean, a totally different time. Mack's a black man in the 1930s, and we know how that would be for him, and they did promise they're gonna address that on the upcoming season, so the adapting over here is either about the entire team, probably about the entire team, but Mack's probably gonna have to be the one to adapt the most to his surroundings, possibly Yo-Yo as well, possibly Daisy, but Mack more than anyone. But the third title that we've got over here is After, Before, and this could be a lot of things. I mean, it could really hint at a lot of things, but the one thing that stands out the most in a time travel scenario is a change to the timeline. Like, we're gonna see a sliding door scenario where we see the timeline or an event in the timeline and what it leads up to before and after the change. They're gonna be kind of different. But moving on, the next episode title is Alien Commies from the Future. Now, we know that the Chronicoms do not have any political affiliation. Whatever they're trying to do it in order to change history, in order to stop S.H.I.E.L.D. from defeating them at any point in time. So what I'm thinking over here, with the involvement that we know about FDR on this season, with the possible involvement of politics in the events of the season, the Chronicoms are going to be working a communist angle, like trying to change the history of the world in order to have communists dominate at such an early point in the history of the planet. That way, to them, S.H.I.E.L.D. would never exist. We would never get to the point where S.H.I.E.L.D. actually exists the way it is, and even if it were to exist, it wouldn't be as strong or as powerful. But the next title over here is As I Have Always Been. Not really sure what this episode is going to be all about, but I think this is going to be about the discovery of Coulson. He's not really Coulson, but rather an LMD. Just feels like the title is all about, an emotional roller coaster, just like the one that May went through on season 4 when she realized she was an LMD rather than the real deal. But we've also got a title that does seem very Deke-centric. We're getting another title that does seem Deke-centric as well, Know Your Onions. And I think that's gotta be something to have to do with Deke's, because Deke is all about that. Onions, lemons, all of that stuff. But next up, though, is Out of the Past, and Out of the Past is possibly the 7th episode of the season, if the leak was actually in the correct order, even though that's still doubtful, and even though it was mentioned by the people who kind of leaked these titles, they're not really certain of the order of these episodes. But yeah, this might be the 7th episode of the season, and that would mean they'd either be returning to the present, out of the past and back to the present, or, and this one is my favorite explanation or theory by the way, we're gonna be getting a cameo from a character from their past, the S.H.I.E.L.D. past, previous seasons. So if it is a recent past, we could possibly see someone like Trip, we could possibly see someone like Ward, and if it is a distant past, we could possibly see someone like Agent Carter, we could possibly see someone like Daniel Souza, and this one is almost confirmed as well, the picture of the bikes and all, and we could also see characters like Whitehall, and that's a great possibility by the way. But yeah though, other episode titles do include Stolen, they include as well the totally excellent adventures of Mack and the D. The D probably refers to Deke, and it's all possibly a play on either of the New Adventures of Old Christine or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and the possibility leans more towards the latter, even though the former would make a lot of sense considering Clark Gregg was a main character on the New Adventures of Old Christine, even mentioned it on one of the AOS blooper videos to one of the earlier seasons. But these are 12 titles. The final title that we've got over here is The New Deal. It does seem from the order of the episodes this is possibly the 9th episode. That's not necessarily the case, but I'm mentioning it for a simple reason. Number 1, if it were an earlier episode, then the possibility is the New Deal is FDR's New Deal. because that's the name that he gave his social and economic reform program when he became president. But then there's two. If it were a later episode, if it were something that had nothing to do with the FDR era, then there's the possibility it's got something to do with the Ghost Rider, got something to do with Coulson. Just a possibility, not saying a necessity, but it is possible that something is gonna change about the deal that Coulson made on season 4. But yeah guys, as I mentioned earlier, chances are these titles are legit, but there's always a chance one or more of them are wrong. Let me add to that you could take my speculation over these titles with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, I'm speculating over titles of a season that's gonna be airing almost a year from now. But in the end, speculation over these kind of little things is pretty much half the fun for all of us as we wait an entire year for the next season. But that though, having been said, my work here is done, so let me know in the comments down below what you think of these titles, what you think is gonna happen over the different episodes with the different titles of the upcoming season. Let me know as well if you did like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, subscribing to this channel, and don't forget to make sure while you're at it to enable notifications in order to get updates whenever I upload a new video, publish a new community post, or start a new live stream. But until the next time that you tune in for another one of my videos, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in to this video, and have a great day.